Whoa, it's Wulzy. Welcome back to another episode in the High Spirits building series. We're back, keeping up the Monday, Friday upload schedule for these building videos. Last time, we made this crazy wave part, which probably has one of my best effects ever, even though it reuses a concept from my level Trippy Trip. No, Trip Trippy, bruh. I still get these mixed up, Trip Trippy and Trippy Trip. Me looking for the person who asked. In this episode, I need to make this build-up section, which needs to be quite climactic, obviously, because the level is getting lighter and more fancy as it's going on. So I'm going to build up a transition by changing the background to white on a 2-second fade time just like that. Adding a new alpha trigger for the blending screen that's covering the whole level up to full opacity, just align it with that slow speed trigger. This then needs to fade back off for about 2 seconds after this happens. At this point in the level, I've still got the glow overlay on that's kind of shrouding the level. I've got an alpha trigger right here that just turns it off very sneakily when the blending screen is on full opacity. At the same time, I'm also going to see a return with the black screen overlay that we used in the beginning to make sure that the white doesn't like blind you. But that can't be on full opacity, that needs to be on about 0.4. So with that swiftly fixed, here is how our part is looking. It's looking very grey, and I like that the visibility is back up. For the last couple of parts, you've had your visibility limited with that glow overlay. To have it finally disappear right before the drop is a nice touch, and it gives me a little bit more potential to like add progression into the level. God damn, this gameplay kind of sucks, doesn't it? I've just completed that part in the UFO, just casually. Who knows, maybe next episode when we're making the drop we can tweak that gameplay, because it is very repetitive. I did see a lot of people complain about that. So at this point of the level, a lot of the objects are invisible. I'm thinking of introducing a fading line that then works into this block design in the following part. I need to start off the level with a base of black objects just like these, but not the actual black objects since you can't change the color of them later. We're going to be using these regular objects that you can change the color of. We're just going to set them to black. Alright, we have got the base blocks in. I need to turn off the block transitions because they don't fit with how the level's feeling at this point, but you get the idea. It's just big long black pillars. There should be some decoration overlaying them so you can't just see that they're straight cut on the sides, but this will do for now. In the transition of this part, I'm going to be changing the color of the blocks very slowly on a 5-second fade time or so, just to a nice blue. I also want 7 to make a comeback, turning it up to 0.4 opacity for about 5 seconds as well. As this part goes on, I want it to be a bit more of a royal blue again. Just before the drop, it's going to change to this nice lighter shade of blue instead of being around this end of the color wheel. So at the beginning of the build up, everything is grey, then it slowly gets more and more blue. The background gets tinted blue after the cube portal, as you can see, and then as you go into the wave, there's a release of the blue color on the screen. Alright, so here comes the glow outlines that I mentioned earlier that's going to bridge in the new part from the old, just like so. On black blending, it's getting a new group 106 and it needs to be on T1. It's going to have don't fade and don't enter, and at the very beginning it's going to have a very fast fade in of 0.1, fade off for 1, and then the group ID will get added. Alright, so to give every object this glow format, I'm just going to copy the left edge of the glow using build helper every time to give them new groups with the triggers selected as well. In fact, I'm going to move all of these pulse triggers back a consistent distance of 5 blocks to the left so that these lines begin to pop up just before you land on the block. It gives you a bit of better vision. I didn't know how to format it onto the slopes, so I need to think of a workaround for that, but I'm confident it's going to look nice on the edges of the blocks. I'm absolutely gutted. I've just made so much progress on this level and forgot to start recording. Basically, you missed me tamper with a bunch of colors and pulses and stuff. I finished the little glow pieces on the tops of the blocks. You'll see there's rotating snowflakes there that invert as the level gets brighter. Oh my goodness, you've missed out on quite a lot. But I can't lie, some of this work was tedious, so you haven't missed out on much. Basically, I made these snowflakes out of 3D lines, as you can see, these objects and these objects. They rotate as a whole around this glow piece that's on top of the object, also on the same color channel 8, which is a pure white color channel I made specifically for these snowflakes. And at the transition right here, they invert very quickly to black, just as a little stylistic change. Okay, so for the background in this spider part, I have set out a line of these snowflakes that we made earlier. I just scaled them down to 0.5 just so they fit in a 1 block radius. So I've done some shenanigans with the portals. As you can see, I've done the portal trick with this one on group 105 that just moves it down by -10 on the Y, so that the borders of the gameplay can be one higher. There's another portal here that lowers those borders by another one. So to make this work, I need to give all of these snowflakes a new group, 150, which is going to be locking to the player X as you hit this slow speed portal. And while it's at it, it's going to move 200 on the X in 8 seconds. By the way, these snowflakes are going on a brand new color channel 11, which is going to copy the color of the background, and it's going to be just a smidgen darker. So right here, when you hit the red orb, these objects need to move down by -10 in a very brief time. In between, there's going to be a big fat snowflake that is scaled 2 times, and it's on a brand new color channel 12, which has -0.1 of the brightness of color channel 11. So there's just going to be a few shenanigans in the background like so. It's looking modernistic. That movement is not pretty at all. Honestly, we can probably extend the duration of this to 2 seconds or so it smoothly moves down so you barely notice it. Just perfecting their movement right now. They're accelerating towards the player instead of just moving consistently, as you can see, and then they fade out nicely as the drop comes in like that. Because I despise toggle transitions when they're not done properly. I like a smooth transition, something different that's not just a black screen or a toggle. So these are on B4 and -5. New opacity, this is going to be on 0.05 at the very beginning of the level for group 152. I think it's quite a nice number to remember because it's like 15, which is half opacity, but 2, so it's like more low opacity, you know? Just making some low opacity shapes that can kind of fill up that space in the background. Now we're talking. The background's getting groovy with some shapes now. I want to stack these up and make some depth. So I can select all of the bottom slopes like so, copy paste them down, which will stack the 0.05 opacity. Give it a new group 151. Oh, Nelly, I forgot to layer it. Okay, so now we need a move trigger right here for 151 that moves it 200 in the sky. Start, stop, and then we can go and collect it in the sky and give it a new editor layer. I'm a genius. So that secondary layer is moving 300 away from the player. I'm going to make a new one that's 153 that's going to move 300 towards the player. So I'm hoping that when it all stacks up, it's going to make some nice overlaying effects that kind of fill up that empty space in the background in between these snowflake layers. Although I've noticed that the snowflakes on the top and bottom are kind of getting blended in with the rest. So if I give all of the massive snowflakes 155 and all of the small snowflakes 154, instead of being on -0.06 and -0.16, they can go to something like -0.4. So 154 will go, then 10 blocks later 155. Then they could just go on loop like this, so they get darker, then brighter, then darker again, then brighter again. The snowflakes that overlay the blocks are on B3. I'm going to promote them. I don't know why I just said promote. I'm going to change them to B2. Then on the very bottom layer of B2, I know this is very similar to some other parts in the level, but I want to pass through some white beams that go on top of the blocks. They're on low opacity, which is group 15. They're on the moving group 150. Okay, I've just seen these on 15. You don't want to know how they've just looked. They're going on 18 instead. I'm placing the start pause further back just to see the damage that I need to fix with the transition in. But these low opacity white beams are just going to sit on top of the level like this, make it shine a bit more. Very similarly to the intro, I just kind of wanted to make that link from start to finish again. This is still looking kind of messy. I think I need some low opacity glow around the edges of the blocks here. Or I could literally just copy all of these objects. Oh, not the glow though. I need to select, filter out all of the glow and put it on editor layer 2. And then I can manually select and move these spikes onto layer 2 as well. We could literally just copy all of these blocks, move them half space up and right, put them on the next Z order down, put them on like low opacity black or something like that, I don't know. In fact, to do it more originally, I'm going to put them on a new editor layer by themselves. I'm going to move them 2 up, copy paste, 2 down, 2 to the right, copy paste, 2 left, 2 down, copy paste, 2 up and 2 left, copy paste. And then that makes a nice little outline around the edges of the blocks. It's super inefficient, but I still need to go through and sweep it up anyway, so I might as well just leave it like this for now. Now, I did notice at the end of this part that the transition was absolutely horrid. I don't know how this is going to work. I might just toggle it all on that really bright pulse right there. But yeah, the blocks are looking really defined now with that kind of shadow around them. Definitely doesn't work for the saw. I kind of forgot about that, but oh no, actually, I could just edit the special of these and put them all on 30. Just thinking about the transition right now, I could probably just set 150 to invisible back there, and then just put a new trigger in that just fades on right when that screen goes really bright. Here we go. Yeah, that works honestly. It works with the shh of the song. I'm also going to test it on 0.1 speed slow motion just so I can spot any visual issues that I've got here. It doesn't seem like there's going to be an issue with this transition. I think it works perfectly fine. It's just on a 0.1 fade time, so there's no issues with like light overlaps or anything. The way I've done the low opacity look of the background is literally just by copying the color white of the background and reducing the brightness of it instead of using opacity, so there's no issue there. So my main issue at the moment is finding a decoration that's not going to be clustered with the stuff in the background. Also a little bit extra structuring. I'm not a fan of the saw. It's really useful to play stuff in slow motion on Mega Hack V6 because you can spot stuff that you don't like super easily without worrying about dying or the gameplay or anything. I'm just plonking these arrows around as we're going on. They're using a low opacity version of color channel 1, which is the same color as the blocks. It's on 15, then there's just a white arrow on top. I don't know, I just think it looks cool. I know this is really weird, but I'm actually quite happy with what I've done in this episode. It's super messy and raw, but I kind of like the feel of it, you know, it's got charm, unlike a lot of other stuff that I've made. Like, I should be adding a lot more structure in, some saws, all that stuff, but I kind of like just having this open as like a nice little break in between that fast, crazy looking wave part that actually lags me in the editor. I don't know if you can see this right now. And then this drop, which is going to be flashy and snowy and stuff. I just feel like I've kind of nailed it with this undershadowing on the blocks, how it's not really consistent on the edges due to the slopes. I'd imagine that on stream, when I verify this near the end of the month, that I'll make tweaks to this part, add a couple more details here and there, but for now, I'm actually happy with it, and I have no idea why. Like, there's no design or anything in the blocks. I just think it's well themed, and it kind of links in with the beginning. I don't want to take away from that or ruin it, so yeah, I'm calling this episode quits here. I don't even know how long it is. This could literally be like 6 minutes or so, but thank you for watching this Geometry Dash building video. Check the links in the description, leave a like and subscribe, become a member, and have a good day.